شاء الله.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. Assalamu alaikum everyone. We are continuing our discussion on the 13th word. Just as a reminder, the verse that we have been reflecting on for the past couple of weeks, not sure how many weeks now, but I just like to remember the verse every time I start the discussion on this word. So here it goes. In the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate. And if a suggestion from Satan assails your mind, take refuge with God, for he is all-hearing and all-knowing. Again, if a suggestion from Satan assails your mind, seek refuge with God, for he is all-hearing and all-knowing. So far we have been discussing the questions that were mentioned in the email, and I borrowed them from the email. The questions are, can the scriptures be read as books written by human beings? Why not? And the other question is, why does the Quran jump from one subject to another when there seems to be no relevance to each other? So basically what I feel like we've been talking about is, okay, we have a book, it's called the Quran, and we really want to strengthen either our faith that it is a book, the speech of God, or reasonably say, okay, no, this is not the word of God. In either scenario, we want to say the conclusion with full conviction, with reason, so that we can become comfortable in it. So last week we started off from here. Let me know if you need to make it bigger on the screen, the letters. But we started off from here. It says, the devil retorted, how should I not deceive them? I have deceived most of mankind and their foremost thinkers into denying the Quran and Muhammad. So again, the devil is trying to challenge whatever the author is saying in response to his question of, well, don't you think the Quran is written by man? And the devil is convinced that he can deceive people, and he's convinced that he can deceive quite many. So last week we discussed the first and the second point. In response to that, the author responded saying, very briefly, saying that, okay, when you look at something from a great distance, the greatest thing appears the same as the smallest. And the second thing is, when seen both as secondary and superficially, something which is completely impossible may appear to be possible. Today we want to start reading the third point and discuss it together. Thirdly, in response to the question of how should I not deceive them, also non-acceptance is one thing and denial is something quite different. Okay, interesting. I paused here when I read this and I asked myself, well, what's my understanding of non-acceptance and my understanding of denial before reading the author's definition? And I realized for me, non-acceptance is it's something like, okay, it's not an active, or it's not let's call it not an active non-acceptance of something. It's more like I'm not accepting that the weather is hot today, for example. I don't know. But I'm not doing anything about it. I'm not investigating. I'm not really engaged in questioning, anything about the weather. I just don't accept it. I don't like it. And then denial, in my understanding, is something a little bit more different, more active. It's more like, to deny something, you have to know it. So after knowing it, you then make a choice to deny it. You're saying, okay, it doesn't really exist. It doesn't really have any truth, or it doesn't have any basis. Okay. Anybody wants to share their understanding of these two terms before we read the author's understanding? Okay. Go ahead. Okay.
Do you think we can liken this one to two terminologies used by the general public, agnostic and atheist, denier? So agnostic is indifferent. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I'm not denying. I'm not confirming anything. Just being indifferent to the point. Majority of the people are indifferent. But what most of the people believe in God, but indifferent to religion, prophetic tradition, prophetic message. But very few people may deliberately come up with their own conclusions, saying that because of this and this and this reasons, I reject this idea and replace it with something else. Do you think that is a good way of understanding, which makes sense?
Yes. When you defined agnostic as indifferent, and atheism as after having actually investigating and then denying, yes, I would agree with the definitions for myself. Yes. Okay. I hope what I and Brother Ali shared is helpful. If not, don't worry. The author will explain these two terms as well. So to the author, non-acceptance is indifference. Just like what Brother Ali was mentioning, a closing of the eyes to something, an ignorant absence of judgment. Many completely impossible things may be concealed within it, and the mind does not concern itself with them. So again, non-acceptance is indifference, a closing of the eyes to something. An ignorant absence of judgment. So it's almost like I'm ignorant of something and I'm not doing anything about it. I'm not, it's an ignorant absence of judgment, a closing of the eyes to something. I'm not looking at it. I'm not investigating. I'm not doing anything about it. Many completely impossible things may be concealed within it, and the mind does not concern itself with them. Okay, well, how about denial? As for denial, it is not non-acceptance, but an acceptance of non-existence. It is a judgment. The mind is compelled to work. So in denial, it's an acceptance of non-existence. It is a judgment. In non-acceptance, it's an absence of a judgment. You're not really looking into the matter. Your mind is not concerned with it. You're not debating which judgment is better. You're not making a conscious, intentional choice. I think, I don't know. That's how I'm understanding it so far. So, a devil like you takes hold of the mind of a person, then leads it to denial. Okay. Interesting. I thought he was going to say then leads it to non-acceptance, to be honest. And showing the false as truth and the impossible as possible through satanic wiles like heedlessness, misguidance, fallacious or false reasoning, obstinacy, false arguments, pride, deception, and habit, you make those unfortunate creatures in human form swallow unbelief and denial, although they comprise innumerable impossibilities. So a devil takes hold of the mind of a person, showing this person the false as truth, and eventually leading this person to denial. I find it interesting that that the author is using the devil here as if he's responsible for showing the false as truth. And then leading the person into denial. I guess what's the role of the person then? Like what's the genuine thing I can be doing as a person to double check that I'm not seeing the false as truth? Or not to follow like the devil's way, basically. In the chat box, it says someone must try to bring evidence if denies anything. Which text says compel mind? Oh, are you saying like if you're denying something, you actually have to prove it? Yes, okay. Okay, any comments here? If you want to share your understanding. Again, this paragraph was a response to the question of the devil was saying, oh, I can deceive a lot of people. But then the author is saying, the author was explaining, well, there's two different things, non-acceptance and denial. Okay. That's for me. Anybody wants to share anything? Okay. Fourthly, we're moving on to the fourth point. Also, if the Quran is supposed to be the word of man, let's assume that it is the word of man, It necessitates imagining to be its opposite, a book which has self-evidently guided the purified, veracious saints, spiritual souls, who shine like stars in the heavens of the world of mankind, has continuously instructed every level of the people of perfection in truth and justice, veracity and fidelity, faith and trustworthiness, and has ensured the happiness of the two worlds through the truths of the pillars of belief and the principles of the pillars of Islam, and through the testimony of these achievements is of necessity veracious and pure, genuine truth and absolute. Okay. Point being made here. Well, if the book is the word of man, it wouldn't have led or guided people in so well that they actually became this. Sorry about that. Okay.
What I get from this point is that the author is saying that if it is not this, if it's not the Quran, I mean, going back to a point I think we made in the earlier classes that okay, I forgot. But the idea that if it is the word of man, and then it would either be completely deceitful, or so regardless of it being the word of man, the Quran would either be completely deceitful or completely, valid in its claims. And if it is the word of man, then it would, it would mean that this individual is making everything up about its claims. And so it's completely deceiving people on the claims that it's making. And let's say if it is the word of man, it is completely deceitful, then there must be something other than this that would help explain the experiences and the testimonies of the hundreds or maybe thousands, definitely thousands of tens of thousands of individuals who have written and shared about their testimonies, about what they have confirmed in their experience, and about the truths of this existence, and that have been verified by this very large community of people. So the author, to me, is putting out a challenge to say, okay, if not this, then something else needs to explain and verify the claims of the saints and the poles, or like figures who have provided very sound, logical, and experiential proof around the claims that the book makes.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wants to share their understanding? There's something in the chat box. I don't know if this was relevant to what I was saying before I disconnected. or after. I'm sorry, I disconnected, so I don't know what happened. But it's saying proving is easier than denying in practice, as well in anything, I guess. So are you referring to the previous, the third point? Proving is easier than denying? Go ahead.
Yes, because I feel it's very important in in life, in everything, I guess. Because like if I give an example, if you say this stone exists, and if you show this stone in or bring evidence, but if you say this stone does not exist in universe at all, so you have to go all part of universe all of the time, then you can deny it. So in its essence, it's really something hard. It is mentioned in other parts in Risale, that makes really sense to me. Just wanted to share.
Yes, thank you very much. Go ahead, Roman.
I think our friend referred to a subject which is related to this world, but matter subjects are which are related to the creator of this world, which is ghaib. It means not of the nature of the universe. So it is a conclusion. Of course, we have to bring this argument to the evidence in the universe, to the evidence in the existence of the things. This is an interesting point that our friend mentioned here, but we have to understand where it is going to be used. It's not like a stone, or as the example was given, but it is like reading and interpreting, understanding the signs of the maker of the things. Some of them may refer it to something unknown nature. Some people may refer these signs to necessary being that consciously arranging everything in a perfect way. By definition, nature doesn't have consciousness, knowledge, or qualities. And also nature is meta, ultimately meta. Matter cannot be the source of immaterial things like life, like human feelings, etc., in consciousness, etc. So the evidence needs to be proven and needs to be plausible for human minds. That's why Quran keeps referring to reasoning, watching out carefully, using the human capacities in order to understand these signs that necessitates an infinite power which is manifesting itself in each and every being. So we have to go through this analysis, saying which one makes sense to me. A part of this universe within itself is the source of existence of anything, but the universe needs a source of existence itself. So a part of anything which needs to be given existence cannot be the source of existence of anything else because it is in need of it. So when we talk straight away like this, they say, okay, I'm not able to prove the existence of the creator of this universe, but you say you do it. Show it to me then. So the argument must be, that is a very frequently used argument by some people, but must be located in its right place. This is just inferences of the science, and we have to understand the capacity of the science pointing to what? But the signs are everywhere. We are not saying in each creation being. So a believer doesn't say or doesn't claim that I've seen the maker and made it something like that. But I concluded from the way the things come into existence that there is no part of this universe can be the source of these beings in the universe, which all have the qualities of their maker manifested in them. And in a wider sense, in a universal sense, these qualities are manifesting at the same time everywhere in the universe. My logical conclusion is the source of existence of these beings of the universe and universe itself in its entirety cannot be within the universe, because it needs to be given existence. They have no quality to give existence to themselves. So this example must be used in the right place. Otherwise, at first, the people say, okay, show me God then, if you want to prove it. So it doesn't work. The argument doesn't work in this way. Why I felt the need to explain this much, because yes, it makes sense theoretically, but how are we going to apply it? Where are we going to apply it? This is the question. We have to be careful while we are giving this example or the way of reasoning. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Okay. Moving to the fourth point. I think I stopped here. Yes. Find the last sentence, and that regarding it as a collection of fabrications and lies is a frenzy of unbelief that would chain even the prophets and the devils and cause them to tremble. So like what Farah was explaining, I mean, basically I understood it the same way, that okay, if we're gonna, suggest that the Quran is the word of man, then how can we attribute all of this the guided what would we attribute all of the guidedness that we see among people who practice or as a result of reading the book? What would we attribute it to then? I think that a very superficial argument to go against this would be, well, not everybody who reads the Quran does display reasonable qualities, or like they don't actually convey trustworthiness. Is this? I know it's a superficial argument, but it does come up. I don't know if anybody has a response to that. Okay. then I'll think about it and let you know if I come up with anything. The fourth point continues to say, and this impossibility necessitates the furthermost ugly and apparent impossibility that one who, according to the testimony of the religion and Sharia of Islam, which he proclaimed, and the unanimous indications to the extraordinary fear of God and pure and sincere worship, which he demonstrated throughout his life, and as necessitated by the good moral qualities unanimously witnessed in him, and according to the affirmation of the people of the truth and perfection whom he reared, was the most believing, the most steadfast, the most trustworthy, and the most truthful was, God forbid, and again, God forbid, without belief, that he was most untrustworthy, did not fear God, or shrink from lying. To imagine this necessitates imagining the most loathsome form of impossibility and perpetrating the most iniquitous and vicious sort of misguidance. Okay. So far, so good? Okay. In short, as stated in the 18th sign of the 19th letter, the common people whose understanding of the Quran is gained by listening to it. The common people whose understanding of the Quran is gained by listening to it say, were the Quran to be compared with all the books I've listened to and the other books in the world, it would not resemble any of them. It is not of the same sort as them, nor or the same degree. The Quran then is of a degree either above all of them or below all of them. Okay, it's an either or situation. It's because it's a book that's not like any other book. So it's either above all of them or below all of them. To be below them is impossible, and no enemy nor the devil could, and no enemy and nor the devil even could accept it. In which case the Quran is above all other books and is therefore a miracle. In just the same way, we say, according to the categorical proof called residue, taken from the sciences of method and logic, O Satan, O disciples of Satan, the Quran is either the word of God, come from the supreme throne of God and his greatest name, or, God forbid, again, God forbid, it is a human forgery fabricated on earth by someone without belief, who neither feared God nor knew him. Okay, that's very hard to believe. In the face of the above proofs, O Satan, you can neither say that, nor could you have said it, nor will you be able to say it in the future. Therefore, the Quran is the word of the creator of the universe, because there is no point between the two. It is impossible and precluded that there should be, just as we have proved in the most clear and decisive manner, and you have seen it and heard it. Any questions here or reflections? Because it makes sense why the author is suggesting the Quran is above all other books and is therefore a miracle. Go ahead.
I think the core argument here, as far as I can follow the text, the Quran is doesn't look like any other book. You cannot compare with the other book. Either it is a completely fabricated or It is something about all of them, not in the middle comparing that it is better than this book or another book. You cannot compare it. Of course, the subject matter is not related to divinely revealed books. Human-made books, for example, Torah doesn't say I am made, I am written by a human being. For example, so the comparison is not between Quran and Torah, but the comparison is between human-made, human-written books and the Quran itself. Content-wise, let alone the literature value is compared, but content-wise, the Quran is really strange. Talks about the hereafter, description of hereafter. Talks about the creator which is beyond of the nature of this universe, beyond the nature of this universe. And human beings, without hearing it from revelation, they cannot talk about this because human mind cannot really go beyond the limitations of this universe and talk about it. I think that's my, poor idea, why the Quran cannot be compared with the others. Because Quran brings the subject, all subjects which are all related to human beings and human nature, addressing to human needs, especially not the bodily needs, but human needs. Questions that the human mind asks, and the Quran gives the answer, of course, by giving or taking the evidence from the universe, but referring the answer to the creator of the universe, which is beyond the scope of this universe, capacity of this universe, is the source of existence of this universe. So talking about something that any human beings cannot make it, let alone talking about the hereafter, which refers to the needs of human feelings. Human feelings need never-ending, infinite satisfaction, not temporary but permanent satisfaction. And we cannot find the permanent satisfaction in this world. Quran says, referring to the source of existence of these human needs, the creator of these needs is really giving you a promise that as I created these needs, I am able to do that. And you can see the universe refers to my infinite, absolute qualities. So you can refer or put your trust in the creator of this universe, not in yourself, which is just perishable being. You are going to die soon. Not in the universe. The universe itself cannot respond to your feelings, even to your bodily needs, but universe is given existence in such a way that it is prepared for you in order to satisfy your bodily needs as well as the needs of the feelings, which are called usually spiritual needs. So the creator of the universe addresses to human beings in the context of the Quran, whereas in the context of the other books, men-written books, they address these needs within the universe, and the Quran says it is fallacy, it is self-contradictory. That's why Quran must be completely irrational, impossible to confirm, or there is no in between. Must be above all. So it must be not, that is important, not the speech of a human being. If it was, it would be comparable with other speeches of human beings. But we didn't touch upon the rhetoric, literature value of the Quran, which is humanly, again, impossible to be so consistent. Can you imagine a book written in 23 years without having no first draft, no first edition, second edition, or really somebody is editing it there again and updating it according to the new living conditions in 23 years in the life of the Prophet, historically verifiable, from zero, one person standing against the whole population where he was, and going through all stages of life experiences throughout 23 years and coming up with the succession, challenging the world's most powerful, influential armies and civilizations and values, challenging all of them. During this period, the first verse revealed never changed, never revised, or really subject to the reduction. So let us just adjust it in this way. No, everything is perfectly preserved, partially though, written, at the end compiled in the form of a book. But whatever it was written on the first revelation, 23 years before the last revelation, revealed verse was written as well, and they are not really contradictory to each other, content-wise, literature-wise, and challenging the non-believers, saying that I am going to be the winner. I am going to be the victor. And it challenged it maybe 18 years before the success was realized. And 20 years before the success, the prophet who said this is God's word had no sign of success at all. No one can ever imagine that this man will be successful, overcome everything, and conquer the hearts and minds of the people. No one thought and give a chance to it. But we understand that there was a plan of the, we call it divine plan, which means the plan of the Creator to demonstrate us how human beings should develop by educating themselves through the teachings of the Quran. That is really miraculous, impossible to deny this fact. Thank you.
Thank you for clarifying that. Okay. I'll continue reading, and please, if you have anything to share, let me know. In the same way, Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, is either God's messenger and the highest of the prophets and the most superior of creatures, or God forbid, he has to be imagined to be someone without relief, having fallen to the lowest of the low because he lied concerning God and did not know God and did not believe in his punishment. So I think it's the same line of reasoning. Either Muhammad was the highest of the prophets or just a liar. He can't be anything in between, I guess. And as for this, O devil, neither you nor the philosophers of Europe and hypocrites of Asia on whom you rely could say it, nor could you say it in the past. Neither shall you be able to say it in the future, for there is no one in the world who would listen to it and accept it. It is because of this that the most corrupting of those philosophers and the most lacking in conscience of the hypocrites even admit that Muhammad the Arabian, peace be upon him, was very clever and was most moral and upright. Since this matter is restricted to these two sides, and the second one is impossible, and no one at all claims it to be true, and since we have proved with decisive arguments that there is no point between them, for sure and of necessity, in spite of you and your party, Muhammad the Arabian, peace and blessings be upon him, was God's messenger and the highest of the prophets and the best of all creatures. Upon him be blessings and peace to the number of angels and jinns and men. That is the end of the word, I believe. Any reflections? Yes, go ahead.
Well, it is obvious, if the Quran is itself above all the books and it claims to be the word of God, then the one who brought to us must be the messenger of God. That is clear evidence. But I was a bit hesitant, although as Muslims, I do to claim that a prophet is the highest of the prophets. One is obvious, God's messenger. Either he should be the God's messenger or he must be the worst man on earth. For example, we always compare a prophetic action and mission with the worldwide accepted good man, Gandhi. Gandhi didn't claim to be the prophet of God. So he is innocent. Innocent means what he did, was a good job. Yeah. But Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, he didn't say, that is my idea. God said, Gandhi said, this is my idea, this is his idea. But the prophet, the messenger of God, Muhammad didn't say it is his idea. He said it is God's idea. So you cannot compare the situation of the Prophet Muhammad with Gandhi. I'm taking Gandhi not an something like rival of Muhammad. Or no. It's no one disputes, as far as I know, that Gandhi was a bad man. So that is why successful and a good man, worldwide accepted. That's why I make the comparison between Gandhi and the messenger of God, Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. So I make this comparison for this reason. So Muhammad didn't say it is my idea, it is my plan, it is my success. He said it's God's success. So it wasn't Muhammad, as he said, that I am successful. I am the triumphant. No, it means winner. No, he said, that is God's promise to me and to you that his word will be above all other words. His sovereignty will be above all other sovereignties. As far as the idea of the Quran brings to humankind, no one can challenge the content of the Quran. For example, all the people who try to really distract the attention of the people, they cannot really deny the unique absoluteness of the source of existence of the universe. But they may refer to something of the universe called nature, called developing by itself, improving by itself, as it is. But within the universe, the fundamental difference is, no, it is a conscious arrangement and conscious way of consciously creating it as a result of complete perfect mercy. What does it mean? The creation is mercy. I mean, when we say God is very merciful, we remember the food and the things are provided by us. But fundamentally, what the Quran says, God's mercy, fundamentally refers to the very existence of everything. Because we cannot explain the existence of anything unless we refer it to a merciful, absolute creator. That is why when we say God is merciful, we have to remember that the universe is the result of manifestation of his mercy. That is a very satisfactory understanding of mercy of the Creator, manifested in self at this level first, and then of course at the individual level we say, okay, thank God he is very merciful to provide me this food or this opportunity, whatever I am looking forward. But we have to be conscious of it. That's a very interesting way of understanding mercy of the Creator. So it is the universe is referred to the mercy of the Creator, but anyone against the oneness, perfectness, absoluteness of the Creator can say that nature is really merciful by really demonstrating it with evidence, although they say, compassionate, merciful, the mother represents mercy, mother nature. But what is it? Is it a conscious being? What is it? Well, unfortunately, some of them has. It's very interesting now, a little bit out of context, what is going on in the world. Some of them feel that nature itself must be conscious, but they cannot prove it. But they say, we will try to find it, as if, cheating a child. I will bring it, don't worry, and there is no sign of it. So consciousness is not matter. How can you really attribute consciousness to a source which is just matter? Because universe is nothing but matter, and it is material existence. But the qualities are definitely not from the matter, because the material is used by the Creator to demonstrate his qualities with them. So it is obvious that we can easily say what Quran claims is really true. So the one who brought this message to us also must be a truthful man. Otherwise, can you imagine Muhammad himself as one person was successful and wrote this book with no correction, no change throughout very, very different nature of his life experiences, and preserved it. And at the end, it formed into a book fully consistent within. It is really beyond human capacity, not the content of it, but the nature of it is literature value. And also there are other aspects, but it is beyond our scope or my scope. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we can stop here, unless we still have a minute if someone wants to add any reflections or ask questions. Okay. Then let's, oh, go ahead. Go ahead, brother Ali, you raised your hand. Do you want to say something?
Sorry, just quickly, the last prayer, it's very interesting. So I just didn't want to miss it from the recording, because this discussion, this kind of discussions are important for being recorded. So some people may listen to it afterwards, not only us. So the last one, upon him be blessings and peace to the number of the angels and jinn and men. What does it mean? Why? Number of angels. Have you thought about it?
No.
So it is very interesting. Of course, it depends on one's understanding of angel. If we really understand the angel as the Quran presents to us in a way that needs, in some cases, needs explanations or really right understanding. Otherwise, I mean, the traditional way of understanding goes with the literal reading of the Quran. It is okay for some people, but not for you. So if you understand that angel represents the angelic side of the creation, which means, in a very simple example, that a piece of art is made up of materials, but art is not matter. No one can say that art is matter, but art manifests itself with matter. So when we look at a piece of art, like the universe is a piece of art, everything in the universe is a piece of art. So we see that this piece of art is as if consciousness speaking to me and introducing me, the artist, qualities of the artist. So I have a communication between the meaning side of the piece of art and communicating through this meaning with the creator of the or artist of this piece of art. So we are learning this from the message God sent us through the messengers. He struggled. He really, really challenged all sorts of obstacles and difficulties, problems of life, tirelessly wanted to convey the message to us. So we have to be extremely thankful for his effort, for his mission, loyal to his mission, loyalty, his belief in God, trusting in God, and take lesson from him, of course. But we have to say, whenever I see a creature, I don't get despaired because it is going to die, I am going to die, and we will be separated from it. Whatever I see, it makes sense to me only through the light, through the explanation of the message of the prophet brought to us. So I have to say, to the number of the angelic side of creation, or everything, jinn, man, whatever you think of this universe, because this universe doesn't only consist of matter. There are lots of other different creatures like we experience in our life. We have feelings, or all the angelic side of human being. So the qualities manifested in my body also witnesses. So everything makes sense only through the light or the idea, the teachings that the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be really upon him. Not a formal saying this now. Peace and blessings be with him. Definitely, to the number of angels in the universe that we are communicating with right now. It is a beautiful, beautiful prayer we have to keep in mind. That's why I am excited about it and wanted to share with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that. Okay, let's end it here. اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. آخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. Thank you everyone. السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.